असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय.
Mantra 3. He was not at all happy. Therefore, people still are not happy when alone. He desired a mate. He became as big as man and wife embracing each other. He parted this very body into two. From that came husband and wife. Therefore, said Yājñavalkya, this body is one half of oneself, like one of the two halves of a split pea. Therefore, this space is indeed filled by the wife. He was united with her. From that, men were born. Śaṅkarācārya's commentary. Here is another reason why the state of Viraj is within the relative world, because he, Viraj, was not at all happy. That is, was stricken with dissatisfaction, just like us. Because it was so, therefore, on account of loneliness, etc., even today people are not happy, do not delight when alone. Delight is a sport due to conjunction with a desired object. A person who is attached to it feels troubled in mind when he is separated from his desired object. This is called dissatisfaction. To remove that dissatisfaction, he desired a mate, able to take away that dissatisfaction, that is, a wife. And as he thus longed for a wife, he felt as if he was embraced by his wife. Being of an infallible will, through that idea he became as big as what? As man and wife, in the world, embracing each other to remove their dissatisfaction. He became of that size. He parted this very body of that size into two. The emphatic word very used after this is for distinguishing between the new body and its cause, the original body of Viraj. Viraj did not become of this size by wiping out his former identity, as milk turns into curd by wholly changing its former substance. What then? He remained as he was, but being of an infallible resolve, he projected another body of the size of man and wife together. He remained the same Viraj, as we find from the sentence, he became as big as, etc., where he is coordinate with the complement. From that parting came husband, pati, and wife, patni. This is the derivation of terms denoting an ordinary couple. And because the wife is but one half of oneself separated, therefore this body is one half, like one of the two halves of a split pea, before one marries a wife. Whose half? Of oneself. Thus said Yājñavalkya, the son of Yājñavalkya, literally the expounder of a sacrifice, that is, the son of Devarata. Or it may mean a descendant of Hiranyagarbha, who is the expounder. Since one half of a man is void when he is without a wife representing the other half, therefore this space is indeed again filled by the wife when he marries, as one half of a split pea gets its complement when again joined to the other half. He, the Viraj called Manu, was united with her, his daughter called Shatarupa, whom he conceived of as his wife. From that union, men were born.
Namaste. So poor Viraj, he's all alone. The empty universe has nothing for him to enjoy. On the other hand, it also has nothing to danger him. But no danger is not exactly a substitute for no companionship. You know, we can all lock ourselves in a closet and there's no danger, but it's going to get boring very quickly. So he made himself into two, male and female, and became Brahma and Shatarupa. But Shatarupa considered herself his daughter, and being half of Viraj, also had infallible wisdom. And because of this, she considered it adharma to have sex with her father, Brahma or Viraj. So she changed herself into different forms, and he kept pursuing her, and like that. And from this, all the species of life in the universe were born, beginning with the human beings. The first son of Brahma is named Daksha, and then Daksha is also known as Prajapati, and he became the first progenitor of the sexual reproduction method. Up until that time, Brahma or Viraj was using the mental method of reproduction. But then sexuality came into it, and with it, all of the attachments and obsessions and struggles, competition, and so on. And this is from the very beginning, the nature of this physical world. So don't think that it's just some aberration of Kali Yuga that makes the mating game so difficult and painful. No, it's been like that since the beginning. There has always been this misunderstanding between male and female. Male considers himself entitled to have a mate, but female is going, no, I'm not really into it, and running away, and then he has to chase her, and then all these games start. And in the Kali Yuga, it just gets worse, especially because the females don't keep to their rightful role in the relationship as subordinate to the husband. They want equal rights, women's liberation. And it just makes everybody so frustrated, especially the men, that eventually they start a war out of sheer frustration and to scare the females back into a subservient role. This is the mass psychology of nations. Yes, it comes out in the form of fascistic leaders and highly polarized politics and stuff like that, rhetoric, and all this kind of nonsense. But those are just symbolic. The real drive that's causing the conflict is sexual. When the men are happy and satisfied, then they cause no trouble. But if they become emotionally, especially, unsatisfied and feel themselves not well taken care of by the women, look out, because they're going to get violent. Back in the 60s, we had this slogan, make love, not war, referencing good old Dr. Freud's analysis of the situation, which wasn't too far different from ours. And this is the problem. There's always some difficulty in the marriage relationship. It never goes smoothly. It's not like the two individuals getting married are actually parts of the same being as they were in the case of Viraj. But even in that case, there was some difficulty because Shatarupa did not want to have sex with Brahma. So this is going on from the beginning. See, this is why the world of matter and manifestation is called the veil of suffering. It's suffering because we're afraid, because we're alone, because we want companionship, but that companionship is full of problems, and on like that. So what to do? The best thing is to consider oneself as married to God. And this is the nature of the renunciant. The renunciant gives up material companionship for spiritual companionship, which is far superior. Once it is established, one loses one's taste for material friendship and love. One loses all taste for material competition and violence and conquest. It's such a ridiculous thing, huh? If we are all Brahman, then why is there anything going on except love? It is because we are selfishly identified with the material body and considering ourselves an individual, losing the view of the whole. One who realizes God has no desire to hurt others or to force his will on them. This is one of the identifying factors of an enlightened being, that they don't push their way around, they don't force others to do what they want. They recognize their individuality and their sovereignty over their own body and mind, and are willing to let them make their own decisions in their own time and do what they will. Aleister Crowley was not too far off when he said, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." But he forgot the other part, which is, and I'm not going to force my will on anybody else. When he was infamous for his maltreatment of his lovers and so forth. But anyway, the full view, the complete view of self-realization is that, yes, I will do what I will up to the point where it interferes with another's will, and then I stop. Because I recognize their individuality, their sovereignty, their nature as Brahman. This is the point, and this is why we stress so much the study of consciousness. Because if you study consciousness, you realize all other beings, even down to animals, are feeling the same way. They are exhibiting and experiencing these four states of consciousness: Jagrat, or external sense consciousness; Svapna, or internal mental consciousness; Sushupti, or deep sleep, or Samadhi, where there are no objects; and Turiya, the unconditioned, pure consciousness that is the substrate for all the others. One who realizes this never goes back to being one of these ignorant people, trying to force their politics or their religion or their sexuality or whatever on others, because he knows that actually all beings are one. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Aum Namah Shivaya.